The quantum core pulsed with an otherworldly blue glow, its containment field humming at a frequency that made Dr. Elena Martinez's teeth ache. She watched through reinforced observation windows as the experimental drive reached full power, her life's work culminating in this moment. Behind her, representatives from the Galactic Alliance shifted uncomfortably, their various alien anatomies expressing different flavors of the same emotion. Fear. The quantum collapse is stable, Elena announced, her voice steady despite her racing heart. Field integrity at 100%. We've done it. The first true space-folding drive. Ambassador Lara, the Centaurian representative, clicked her mandibles in distress. This technology, it defies natural law. You're not just bending space-time, you're breaking it and rewriting the rules. Elena turned to face the assembled delegates, noting how they had unconsciously positioned themselves further from the observation window. That's exactly the point. Every major advancement in history has come from challenging what we thought were immutable laws. This drive will revolutionize space travel, open up new possibilities for. It will revolutionize warfare, interrupted Caxven, the Rigelian military attaché. His crystalline form flickered with patterns of deep red, a sign of extreme agitation. A ship that can simply appear anywhere, ignoring all known defensive measures. The political implications alone. We've been completely transparent about this research, Elena countered. The Quantum Sciences Treaty guarantees all Alliance members access to. The treaty never contemplated something like this, Lara interjected. Humanity has gone too far. Again. The words hung in the air like a death sentence. Elena felt a chill run down her spine as she recognized the familiar pattern. The same fear, the same accusations that had greeted every major human breakthrough in the past decade. But this time felt different. The fear ran deeper. Her quantum comm buzzed, a priority message from Admiral Chen at Fleet Command. She read it and felt her blood run cold. They're convening an emergency session of the Alliance Council, she told the assembled delegates, regarding humanity's status in the Alliance. Lara's antennae drooped in what might have been sympathy. You must understand, Dr. Martinez, your species, you move too fast, push too hard. The rest of us learned to crawl before we walked. Humanity wants to run before it can even stand. We're trying to advance the whole Alliance, Elena protested. Everything we develop, we share. We follow every protocol, every safety measure. And yet here we are. Caxven interrupted, his crystalline form now a deep purple of resignation. With a weapon that could destabilize 1,000 years of galactic peace. It's not a weapon. It's a drive system, a way to explore. Anything that revolutionary is a weapon, Lara said softly, whether intended as one or not. The quantum comm buzzed again. The council session was beginning. Elena watched the delegates file out, leaving her alone with her creation. The blue pulse of the quantum core seemed dimmer now, its promise tainted by fear. Admiral Chen's hologram appeared before her, his weathered face grave. They're voting on Resolution 47B, he said without preamble. Elena's heart sank. Resolution 47B, the emergency provision for removing dangerous elements from the Alliance. It had never been invoked in the Alliance's 1,000-year history. How bad? Bad. The vote's almost unanimous. They're giving us a choice. Voluntary exile beyond the galactic rim, or... He didn't need to finish the sentence. Elena looked at the quantum core, the culmination of humanity's relentless drive to push boundaries. How long do we have? 6 months to evacuate Earth and all colonies. They're generous enough to let us use the quantum drive tech to assist with the evacuation. His laugh was bitter. Scared enough of it to want us gone, but willing to let us use it to leave faster. Elena began the shutdown sequence for the quantum core. We'll need every advantage we can get. Where will we go? The dark spaces between galaxies. No one else can survive out there. Their technology isn't advanced enough. It'll have to be enough. As the quantum core's blue glow faded, Alina thought about the irony. The very advancement that had doomed them might be the key to their survival. "We'll adapt," she said. "We always do." "That's what they're afraid of," Chen replied. "Start packing up your lab, Doctor. Humanity's about to embark on its greatest journey, whether we want to or not." The quantum core went dark, but in its reflection on the observation window, Alina saw not defeat, but possibility. Humanity had always thrived when pushed to its limits. Perhaps exile wasn't an end, but a beginning. She opened a comm channel to her research team. There was work to be done, and precious little time to do it. The stars between galaxies awaited, and humanity would need every scrap of innovation they could muster to survive there. After all, that's what humans did best. Turn obstacles into opportunities, restrictions into innovations. The Alliance might fear their potential, but they would soon learn that trying to contain humanity was like trying to bottle a solar flare. The exile would begin in 6 months. Alina intended to make every second count. Captain Sarah Chen stood at the observation deck of Nexus Station, watching the quantum harvesters at work. Their massive collection arrays stretched across the void, gathering energy from the quantum foam that existed between galaxies. To most species, this region of space was empty, dead. To humans, it had become home. 70 years had passed since the exile, and humanity had done more than survive. They had transformed their punishment into opportunity. The quantum drive technology that had sparked their expulsion had evolved into something the Galactic Alliance could never have imagined. Station log, year 70 of Exodus. Sarah spoke into her neural interface. Harvester efficiency up 12% after the latest modifications. Dr. Martinez's original designs continue to exceed expectations. She smiled, thinking of her grandmother, Alina, whose dangerous innovation had become the cornerstone of human civilization in exile. The older woman would have loved to see how far they'd come. "Captain," her AI assistant chimed in, "Deep-range Scout Helios is requesting emergency docking clearance." Sarah frowned. The Helios wasn't due back from its void exploration mission for another week. "Grant immediate clearance. Alert medical if needed." She made her way to the docking bay, noting how the station's corridors curved in ways that would have been impossible with conventional engineering. Quantum architecture, they called it, spaces that existed in multiple configurations simultaneously until observed. Another dangerous innovation born of necessity. The Helios docked with barely a whisper, its stealth systems a testament to how far human technology had evolved. The ship's captain, Marcus Wong, practically burst through the airlock. His face was ashen. "Sarah, we need to convene the council. Immediately." "What did you find out there, Marcus?" He pulled up a holographic display from his neural interface. "We were testing the new quantum sensors at the edge of our normal range when we detected this." The display showed what looked like a massive fleet, but the ships were like nothing Sarah had ever seen. Their designs seemed to defy conventional physics, their hulls absorbing light rather than reflecting it. "That's not Alliance technology," she said. "No, it's something else. Something old. We detected temporal distortions around their fleet. They've been out there for thousands of years, dormant. And now they're waking up." Sarah studied the data, her augmented mind processing the implications. "Their trajectory. They're going to hit the Alliance first," Marcus confirmed. "But based on their numbers and capabilities, they won't stop there. They'll consume everything. The Alliance, the rim worlds, and eventually they'll find us out here too." Sarah closed her eyes, accessing the quantum network that connected all human settlements in exile. The council members would receive priority alerts, their neural interfaces lighting up with the emergency signal. How long? 3 months, maybe 4 before they launch their attack. The Alliance has no idea they're coming. Their sensor technology can't detect anything at this range. Sarah walked back to the observation deck, Marcus following. The quantum harvesters continued their endless work against the backdrop of distant galaxies. Humanity had built something remarkable out here in the void, proving they could thrive anywhere. "We have to warn them," she said finally. Marcus's expression was grim. "The exile protocols. Damn the protocols. If these beings are as powerful as your data suggests, the Alliance doesn't stand a chance. And after they fall, we're next." "The Alliance expelled us," Marcus reminded her. "Declared us too dangerous to exist alongside them. They made their choice." Sarah turned to face him. "And now we have to make ours. We're not the same civilization they exiled 70 years ago. We're stronger, yes, but also wiser. We understand things now that we couldn't have grasped back then." She gestured at the quantum harvesters. "Look what we've built out here. Not weapons, not tools of conquest, but the means to thrive in the most hostile environment imaginable. We didn't just survive exile. We transcended it." Her neural interface pinged as council members began responding to the emergency signal. Within hours, humanity's leaders would gather to decide their response to this threat. "Your grandmother's quantum drive started all this," Marcus said softly. "It scared them so badly they cast us out. And now we might be their only hope." Sarah finished. "The question is, are we still human enough to help those who rejected us?" The quantum network hummed with increasing activity as more council members came online. In the void between galaxies, humanity faced perhaps its greatest test, not of technology or innovation, but of spirit. Sarah watched the distant galaxies spiral slowly in the darkness. Somewhere out there, an ancient force was stirring, threatening everything that existed. And humanity, the exiles, the ones deemed too dangerous to remain in civilized space, might be the only ones who could stop it. The council chamber would be full within the hour. Sarah had already made up her mind, but the decision would not be hers alone. Humanity's response to this crisis would reveal what kind of civilization they had truly become out here in the darkness. She touched her neural interface, preparing her presentation to the council. "Time to prove them wrong about us," she whispered. "Or right, in a way they never expected." The council chamber of Nexus Station pulsed with tension as three-dimensional holograms of humanity's leaders materialized around the circular table. Some attended in person, others projected from settlements scattered throughout the void, but all wore the same grave expression as they studied the Helios' sensor data. "The data is conclusive," Marcus Wong finished his presentation, his holographic display showing the massive alien fleet in stark detail. "These vessels represent a technological level far beyond anything we've encountered. Their wake signatures suggest they've been dormant for millennia." Director James Rivera of the Technology Division leaned forward, his augmented eyes scanning the data streams. "And you're certain they're hostile?" "Their ship configurations are exclusively military," Sarah Chen responded, stepping forward. "Energy weapons, temporal distortion fields, gravity manipulation arrays, all designed for maximum destruction. This isn't a peaceful exploration fleet. The Alliance must be warned." Council member Diana Patel's hologram insisted. "Whatever happened 70 years ago, we can't let billions die when we could prevent it." "At what cost?" demanded Governor Chen Wei of New Terra Colony. "The moment we break exile, we expose ourselves. Everything we've built out here becomes vulnerable. The Alliance might attack us before we can even deliver the warning." Sarah activated a new holographic display, showing the quantum sensor data in greater detail. "Look at their numbers, their positioning. This force isn't just targeting the Alliance. They're planning to consume everything. If the Alliance falls, we're next. Our isolation won't protect us forever." The chamber fell silent as the council processed this. Finally, High Counselor Rafael Santos spoke, his weathered face grave. "We need to consider all aspects of this decision. Captain Chen, what are our military capabilities compared to 70 years ago?" Sarah straightened. "We're not just stronger, we're fundamentally different. Our quantum technology has evolved beyond anything the Alliance could imagine. Our ships can phase through normal space-time. Our sensors can detect threats across dimensional boundaries, and our stealth systems are generations beyond what caused our exile. Which means we don't need their permission or forgiveness, Governor Wei interjected. We can simply send them the warning anonymously. They wouldn't believe it, Marcus countered. The Alliance fears what it doesn't understand. An anonymous warning about an impossible threat. They'd dismiss it as a hoax. Then we show them. Sarah's voice cut through the debate. We reveal ourselves, demonstrate our capabilities, and prove the threat is real. Not as conquered exiles begging to return, but as equals offering critical intelligence. And if they attack us? Someone asked. They can try. Sarah gestured at the technical specifications, scrolling through the air. But we're not the same civilization they exiled. We could evade or defend against anything they throw at us. The question isn't whether we can do this, it's whether we should. High Counselor Santos stood, his presence commanding attention despite his advanced age. 70 years ago, the Alliance judged us too dangerous to exist alongside them. They feared our potential, our drive to push boundaries. Now we face a choice that will prove them either right or wrong. He walked to the center of the chamber, the holograms parting around him. We could stay silent, protected in our exile, and watch as billions die. That would prove them right, that we're too dangerous, too callous to coexist with others. Or we could rise above our pain, our bitterness, and try to save those who rejected us, even at great risk to ourselves. The chamber erupted in discussion, arguments flying back and forth. Sarah watched the debate unfold, noting how the younger council members, those born in exile, seemed more inclined to help, while the older generation carried deeper scars. There's another factor to consider, Marcus added quietly. The human colonies that stayed behind. There are still millions of our people living in Alliance space. If we do nothing, we condemn them too. Sarah noticed the shift in the room as this point landed. For all their advancement, for all their evolution in the void, humanity's greatest strength remained unchanged, their connection to each other. I call for a vote, High Counselor Santos announced. But remember, this decision will define our civilization. Are we the dangerous species they feared, or have we become something more? The voting interfaces appeared before each council member. Sarah held her breath as the decisions registered, watching the quantum network compile the results. After 70 years of exile, humanity would choose its path forward. The results materialized in the center of the chamber. The vote wasn't even close. Prepare the fleet, Santos ordered, his voice firm. We go back. Not as supplicants, not as conquerors, but as protectors. The Alliance feared what humanity might become. It's time to show them what we actually are. As the council chamber emptied, Sarah and Marcus remained, studying the tactical displays. They had 3 months to prepare, to plan their approach, to figure out how to convince their former enemies to trust them. Your grandmother would be proud, Marcus said softly. This is what she always wanted. For our innovations to help others, not just ourselves. Sarah nodded, already planning the fleet movements in her mind. We've learned so much out here in the darkness. Maybe it's time to bring some light back to the galaxy. The quantum sensors continued their silent watch, tracking the ancient fleet's preparations. In 3 months, 2 civilizations would have to overcome their past to face a threat to their future. And humanity, forged in the spaces between stars, would have to prove that exile had made them not just stronger, but wiser. The flagship Quantum Dawn materialized at the edge of Alliance space, its advanced stealth systems rendering it nearly invisible to conventional sensors. Sarah Chen stood on the bridge, watching as the familiar spiral arms of the Milky Way spread out before them. After 70 years, humanity had returned. Multiple Alliance defense platforms detected. Marcus reported from his tactical station. Their sensor sweeps are passing right through us. Quantum phasing is holding steady. Sarah nodded, studying the tactical display. The Alliance's defenses had improved over the decades, but they were still blind to humanity's quantum-based technology. Status of the fleet. All ships in position, Marcus confirmed. Spread across 12 strategic points in Alliance space. If anything goes wrong, we can deliver our warning to multiple systems simultaneously. The bridge crew worked with quiet efficiency, their neural interfaces synchronizing with the ship's quantum systems. They had rehearsed this moment for weeks, but the reality of breaking exile carried a weight that no simulation could capture. Alliance Command is broadcasting their daily security updates. Communications Officer Maya Rodriguez announced, "Their encryption hasn't changed much. Feeding their channels through our quantum processors now." Sarah allowed herself a small smile. The Alliance still fought in linear terms, using security systems that couldn't account for quantum computing's ability to exist in multiple states simultaneously. Begin transmission on their emergency frequencies. Full spectrum, maximum priority. The message they had prepared burst out across Alliance space, cutting through every defense and encryption system. On thousands of worlds, communication systems suddenly carried the same signal, proof of the approaching threat, along with evidence of humanity's presence. Alliance Defense Grid is going to full alert, Marcus reported. They're deploying rapid response fleets. Response time is slower than expected. They've gotten complacent out here. Multiple incoming transmissions, Maya announced. Alliance Command, Sector Defense, individual system governments. They're all demanding identification and purpose. Show them who we are, Sarah ordered. The Quantum Dawn stealth systems deactivated, revealing the ship in all its glory. Its quantum architecture gleamed with an otherworldly beauty, the hull seeming to exist in multiple dimensions at once. This was no longer the primitive technology that had frightened the Alliance 70 years ago. This was something transcendent. The main view screen lit up with the face of Alliance High Commander Vexterra, a member of the same species as Tulara, who had helped condemn humanity to exile. His mandibles clicked in obvious shock. "Humans," he managed, "you dare violate the terms of exile. Our defense fleets are already moving to intercept. Your defense fleets can't touch us," Sarah interrupted calmly. "But we're not here to fight. You need to see this." She transmitted the sensor data from the Helios, showing the ancient fleet preparing for their assault. Vexterra's antennae twitched as he processed the information. "These readings, they're impossible. No sensors can reach that far into the void." "Ours can," Sarah replied. "We've had 70 years to evolve, High Commander. The quantum technology that frightened you so much, it was just the beginning." More Alliance leaders joined the transmission, their various alien features displaying different expressions of shock and disbelief. Sarah recognized several species from her historical studies: the crystalline Rigelians, the energy-based Axorans, the biomechanical Tercaf. "This could be a deception," one of them suggested, "a trick to justify your return." "Scan our ship," Sarah challenged them. "Try to understand how we're achieving quantum phasing. Attempt to penetrate our defenses. You'll find that we're so far beyond what you feared 70 years ago that your sensors can barely comprehend what they're seeing." She brought up a tactical display showing the positions of the human fleet. "We have ships at 12 strategic points in Alliance space. We could have appeared anywhere, attacked any target. Instead, we're here with a warning, because despite everything that happened, we choose to help." The Alliance leaders conferred among themselves, their transmissions carrying undertones of fear and confusion. Finally, High Commander Vexterra spoke again. "Even if these readings are accurate, what do you expect from us? Your exile was unanimously decided. The laws won't matter if that fleet reaches Alliance space," Marcus cut in. "You're looking at a force that could end civilization as we know it. We didn't come here to ask permission to return. We came here to save lives." Sarah stepped forward. "You feared what humanity might become. Look at us now. We've mastered the spaces between galaxies, developed technology you can barely comprehend, built a thriving civilization in the void you thought would kill us. And our first act upon breaking exile is to warn our former enemies of a threat to their existence." She let that sink in before continuing. The question isn't whether you'll allow us to help. The question is, are you wise enough to accept help from those you once cast out? The Alliance leaders fell silent, the weight of the moment settling over the connection. Humanity had returned, not as conquered exiles or vengeful enemies, but as something entirely new. And now, facing an impossible threat, the Alliance had to decide whether their fear of human potential outweighed their need for human innovation. 3 months, Sarah reminded them. That's how long until that fleet launches its attack. You can spend that time fighting us, or you can work with us to prepare for the real enemy. Choose quickly. Humanity learned to survive in the void. We don't need your permission to exist anymore. The quantum sensors continued their silent watch of the approaching threat, while on the bridge of the quantum dawn, humanity awaited the response that would determine the fate of galaxies. The great chamber of the Alliance Council had never held such an assembly. Representatives from every major species sat alongside human delegates, their differences momentarily overshadowed by the holographic display dominating the center of the room. A real-time feed of the ancient fleet's preparations, captured by human quantum sensors. Sarah Chen stood before them, her quantum-enhanced uniform, a stark contrast to the traditional robes of the Alliance leadership. 2 weeks had passed since humanity's return, and the initial shock had given way to an uneasy cooperation born of necessity. The enemy fleet's temporal signatures are strengthening, she reported, manipulating the hologram with practiced ease. They're fully awakening from their dormancy. Our latest projections suggest we have 68 days until they launch their attack. The ancient fleet continued its preparations in the darkness, unaware that its intended prey was becoming something new. A fusion of Alliance stability and human innovation, of ancient wisdom and revolutionary progress. In 52 days, they would learn what happened when you gave humanity a reason to prove itself. Sarah looked out at the assembled species, former enemies now partners in survival, and thought of her grandmother Elena. The quantum drive that had caused their exile would now help save the galaxy. Sometimes, she reflected, the universe had a sense of irony. The void between galaxies had taught humanity harsh lessons about survival, about adaptation, about transcending limitations. Now those lessons would serve not just humanity, but all sentient life. The exile had ended, but its legacy was just beginning.